welcome to the SC Bitches.
Oh my God, we're in season 3, episode 18.
Like the Undertow.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, I can really do Valley Girl, and that was terrible. So
I know.
let's just pretend. I'm from the Valley, born and raised. How shameful.
And you sound less like a Valley girl than some people
Really?
who didn't grow up in the
I
Valley.
do say like a lot.
I had to work that way out of my vocabulary when I was younger. Coming to you don't like
Totally.
So I'm really excited today.
So excited.
We have a guest that we've actually been trying to get on the show
For a very long time.
For a little bit since season 2, we've been trying to get this lovely lady. So you all remember our bad girl Jess that was leading Trey astray. Today's guest is the lovely Nikki Griffin.
Woo!
Nikki had memorable roles in 2005's The Dukes of Hazzard and third installment of the Fast and Furious franchise, Tokyo Drift. But you guys, yes, you know her as Jess Sathers, that drug-dealing party girl, floater girl from the right side of the tracks. In 2012, though, she began exploring editorial writing and had several articles about TV, film, and comic books published in Geek magazine, as well as online at marvel.com. But then, this is really interesting, in 2018, leaning into her years of experience, both in front of and behind the camera, Nikki stepped into the role of talent manager at the management group that first launched her own acting career, in a move that she says feels very full circle. So welcome, Nikki.
Hi.
Hi.
So good to be here.
Hi. We're so happy to have you. We literally have been trying to get you here for so long. And your character is a lot of fun to watch. Like, even as bad as it was, like the things that were happening in the second season, your character's super fun. You did such an awesome job. So we're so happy you're here with us.
Oh, thank you. I watched I skimmed through the episodes before this that I was in just to refresh. And I was like, wow, she just had no rules. That girl just loved life.
Loved life.
Life
That's a good
on
way
her
to
own
put
terms.
it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, and we talk about villains on the show, and that do you play villain as a villain, and sometimes they really are just written as villains, and then we never got to see any vulnerability, maybe a little bit in this episode, but she does, obviously some characters are just villains, and they're there to make life difficult for the main characters. And yeah, you had a definite you made a huge impact, I think, on the show.
For sure.
Yeah.
I just think she was a rich girl that was bored and, wanted to stir up trouble. Like, these people, and Trey came along and he was super hot and fun and different and wild.
Yeah.
So, she ran with it.
I think she lived in bikinis too.
You really
did.
Yeah.
Like I think you more than others did that drop. You drop the clothes and walk away into the bedroom thing. You did
all
that
the time.
all the time.
Oh my God, all the time.
Were you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I always have been pretty comfortable with that. I mean, when I was younger, for sure, it's like glory days, right?
Yeah, I know.
Running around.
Right.
Exactly.
And it was fun just because it was written so villainous, and it was just, she was always teasing him and flirting with him, and she had an agenda, but
yeah, it was for sure a fun role.
Yeah,
it looked fun.
Was so fun.
I love it when she pulls out a gun that's bigger than her. She's like, "Can you use this?" She just has access to some guys over in Garden Grove or something.
Oh my God.
She has connections everywhere.
I have
Everywhere.
connections.
You are
Connections.
super connected. Yeah, if I could go back, I feel like Jess would be a fun one to play. For
she
sure.
definitely would be.
So
where are you from?
Yeah.
I'm I was born in Mississippi. Spent some time in Germany when I was really little, and then I grew up in North Carolina. So I went to high school and everything in North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
In Wilmington, actually. They film a lot of stuff there.
I filmed a pilot there.
Yeah. I got my SAG card there in a movie called Summer Catch.
All right.
So
Wait,
you
why
started
do I feel like I
acting
know
there?
that movie?
Yeah, it's Freddie Prinze Jr.
I was going to say
and
Freddie
Jessica
Prinze Jr. Why? My brain, no memory, and then I'll just throw out Summer Catch with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, and she's like, so I got my SAG card and I was like, this is it. I'm on my way.
Nice. So you came to LA?
I did. When I was 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did the OC come about?
So I actually did the Dukes of Hazzard first. I shot that. And then the OC was my first audition back. Like when I got back from filming that, it was my first audition. And I think I went in like 3 times, but I didn't want to go in at first. I thought I was too old.
Oh my God.
I was like, I can't play high school.
And then you're like, wait, all these people are older than me.
So I went in, I read like, I think 3 times, and it was really funny. And I wonder where these girls are now. But my last read, I was walking down the hallway. You know, it's basically like a test. Mm-hmm. And the 2 girls that I was testing against were like giggling and walking together down the hallway. And as they passed me, they said, "See you on the OC." But like that I was going to get the role.
They said it about you?
Yeah. Like they said it to me like, "Oh, we just blew that." And they were like giggling about it and, you know, kind of laughing like, well, we're going to see you on the OC.
Like we tanked our audition.
Yeah. And I was just like, why are they, you know, what's happening? Are they trying to throw me? Like, you know, because back then, like everybody's in everybody's heads. So
auditioning's the worst.
Yeah, it was the worst. But yeah, then I got it. And I actually still have my audition side somewhere.
What?
Really?
Yeah, it's really cute.
Oh, wow.
I think I posted it at some point on my Instagram, but it's like all highlighted and has little notes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So at the time, so that was season 2. You came in season 2.
The end of season 2.
And so the show was already kind of at its height after season 1. So
I mean, I was beyond excited. I mean, it was such a, you know, I have had the wonderful experience on being on 2 things that this and Tokyo Drift that have had like lasting staying power. They created such a huge pop culture footprint. I'm so happy to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Like it's like people still talk about it. Like they're so huge things that have lasting power, and there's so much content out there now that it's hard to make those kind of footprints last. You know, like most, you know, we still talk about Friends and Seinfeld and the OC and 90210. You know, there are things that we still talk about, but like now, if you think about it, there's just so many things to watch that it's harder to make that like splash.
Right.
But why the shift? Like, so you were doing so well, like all these big successful things, and you switched to talent management
after writing. But
right.
So
but
I did really well when I was playing a teenager, and there's a bit of a shift that comes from playing. There's not as much college material out there as there is high school.
Sure.
So I was doing really well playing a cheerleader. Like.
You probably played
school,
a cheerleader.
I did once. I'm not much of a dancer, so I lost out on those Bring It On franchises. But playing a teenager is a little bit easier and more fun, and people don't expect as much of you. And then I was growing out of that, and the writer's strike happened.
2007.
Yeah, so my window of opportunity like closed because on the other side of that, I was no longer playing, you know, a teenager, maybe even really college, but I was also still kind of stuck in that mold. You know, I wasn't quite playing like a cop or a lawyer or a doctor on, you know, like people just weren't buying me for that. And I was pretty wild. And
you were having fun.
Yeah, I was having fun, and I made a lot of bad personal and professional decisions. And I just, at some point, when I got to be about early 30s, I was like, I don't have the self-discipline for this. I'm not cut out for this. I have an idea of the business and how it runs and the cycles it takes. And I understood that better, I think, than a lot of actors my age. And my last audition, I was like in this room, and there were a bunch of people that had been series regulars on shows and were auditioning for a guest star on a comedy or something. And I was sitting there and I was just like, I'm not going to get this. Like, this person's been, you know, a series regular. Like, so I just kind of saw the writing on the wall and decided to shift. And one of the last things I did, I met some people that were working in publishing. And it was a magazine called Geek Magazine, which you mentioned before. And I was a super, super nerd. love comic books. I love video games and all that stuff. And we got to talking and they were like, oh my God, well, you should write for our magazine. So I started writing for that. And it was really kind of right before the whole nerd thing like really blew up. And then the magazine folded and I just was like, what am I going to do? And I was still friends with my manager, my former manager. And she was like, well, I would hire you.
Oh my God.
So I came and worked for her and it's been
I think it's
wonderful.
so admirable because, I think, when we do get into this world of when you think about I grew up in that world of like, yeah, this is what I do. And I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. I like even doing this podcast was like a different skill. But when you think about, you see so many actors now not acting anymore. Like Gwyneth Paltrow's not acting anymore. So everybody's doing different things or becoming a different business and in a lot of ways being more fulfilled because that rat race of, I just did a self-tape the other day that I thought was amazing and they didn't even get a bite. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there are things in there that it's like, it is nice to have something to do every single day and know what you're going to do tomorrow. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely happier on this side of the business for me. I had a lot of severe anxiety and depression, in my 20s, early 30s. And this gives me something. I'll always work harder for someone else than I will for myself.
I hear you.
So like, having a goal and people that depend on me and, but being able to give them with my experience, and like, these are the things that like, this is where I screwed up. This is something that helped me, even though the business has really, really changed a lot since we were doing it. But yeah, I mean, I also grew up, I was a child model, so I'd been doing it since I was like 10. And at some point it was just kind of like, if it's not going to be what it was when I was on the OC, then I need to do something else. Like you said, I need to be more fulfilled.
So you're saying like what it was like when you were on the OC. Do you remember what that was like? Do you remember
Did you
your
have
first
fan
day
reaction?
on set?
Yeah.
I totally remember. I mean, I remember a lot more than Rachel does. Apparently. I mean, I didn't have a lot of scenes with you.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had any with you.
No.
But I definitely remember it. I mean, it was, it was a hit show. So I was so excited to be there. I remember the first night in the pool. We spent hours in that pool and I was just like beyond happy because it was like my first night. And I think Adam was in the pool with me and he's just like miserable because it's, it's kind of cold and like everybody's, we've been here and it's
4 a.m.
Yeah. And it's like a party scene. So there's a lot going on. But so I remember that. And then, like the audition thing. And then I have like just glimpses, snapshots. I spent a lot of time with Misha. Misha and I actually had the same publicist at the time and we had more scenes together, I think. So I remember sitting around with her in the finale. I think you guys, in the finale of the second season, I think you guys shot, it was like a 19-hour day for me because you guys shot the scene where the what you say part. And then at the end of the night, they're like, oh, we got to get this, where she shoots out over the guy's head, where I pull the gun out and the, run
in
off.
The bait shop.
In the bait shop, we had to do the drug deal. So I feel like that was like afterwards. But I remember that there was something, you guys were shooting that, and then I had to come back. I was like waiting all day, and I finally shot that scene.
That sounds realistic. Yeah. We've got to get this major scene done, and
that would take a long time.
And now we have this other part that we have to finish, but yet it's like 3 a.m.
Yeah. And then I, like little things like obviously during the writer's strike, I had to get a job. I had to get a real job. And, I remember I was waitressing at this restaurant in Santa Monica, and people would ask to take pictures with me because I had been on the OC. And, I tell people all the time, you have to be like, you have to be humble and get out there and work. You know what I mean? Like you have to pay the bills and be fulfilled in other ways. Not that was like super fulfilling, but, I needed I needed something else. So those were the times. Yeah, I mean, I got recognized here and there, and it was super fun.
And do you remember what it was like working with Logan or Ben?
Yes, I worked a lot with Logan.
Mm-hmm.
He was super fun. We had, we would joke and banter. Ben was super smart. Ben was always like reading a book or something. I remember in this episode, I was reading a book and he's like, oh, you're reading? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, what are you reading? So we had this long talk about reading as if he was like surprised that I could read.
No, he was just used to all of us that never read.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were both really nice. Actually, Ben is the only one I've seen since.
Really?
In the last like 10 years. I mean, I think I ran into some people at parties and stuff, but like I saw Ben at 2018 Comic-Con when he was on Gotham. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So positive memories.
Yeah. I have all positive. Yeah, I have all positive. I mean, I was stoked to be there, you guys.
Well, this is a really heavy Jess episode. You come back, and I think the writers, we're in season 3, which doesn't get the best rap, and some of the storylines were a little more frustrating than others. But I think this was, I thought it was, because I don't remember this season as well as some of the other seasons, but I thought it was a really interesting way to really service this main character of Ryan going through something and for Jess to show up. And it's, like we said, it's an interesting thing for Ryan to revisit his past and take the audience on that little bit of an emotional tour with what's going on in his life. So let's get into the episode.
Yeah.
It's time to ditch the chemicals with Caraway Home's non-toxic cookware and bakeware collections so you can make healthier cooking a piece of cake. Caraway Home's non-toxic kitchenwares are all designed for the modern home and feature a chemical-free ceramic coating so food can be prepared with peace of mind that no hard-to-pronounce compound will leach into your healthy ingredients. When I think of all the toxic non-stick pans I've used for decades,
I know.
It boggles the mind. Let's just say I'm so grateful for my Caraway pans. I especially love using the saute pan like every day. I may use it this morning for my eggs. It's safely, and I can use it every day with peace of mind.
I love Caraway. All sets come equipped with easy access storage solutions so that no stacking is required. Gone are the days of misplacing your lids. Let me tell you, I am obsessed with this cookware line. I've actually had it for a really long time. My favorite is the saute pan with the lid. I now do my mashed potatoes in it because it's shallow, but every time I'm cooking, because I'm always making dinner for my daughter, I love knowing that there's no crap in it. It's all non-toxic. And they're so pretty. You can leave them out on your counter with their organizer thing they give you, and they have a hanging canvas thing for the lids. It's really cute.
I know. I wish my mom had this when I was a kid.
I know, right?
In the 70s. Anyway, this can only happen once a year. Caraway's Cyber Season event is almost here. Save up to 20% on all Caraway products, including their internet-famous non-toxic cookware set.
So excited. And for the first time ever, you can now save on Caraway's food storage, tea kettle, and mini cookware. This exclusive deal won't last long. Make sure to shop your favorite colors and products while you still can.
Visit carawayhome.com to take advantage of their Cyber Season event and score up to 20% off your next purchase of non-toxic kitchenware.
This deal won't last long, so visit carawayhome.com to shop all their incredible products for up to 20% off this holiday season. Caraway.
A change of season means longer days, better outdoor activities, and more ways to get healthier, including checking in on your health and wellness. With Everlywell, you can take action today by taking one of their at-home lab tests or by adding their vitamins and supplements into your daily routine.
Everlywell is digital healthcare designed for you, all at an affordable and transparent price. With over 30 at-home lab tests, you'll be able to choose the test that makes the most sense for you to get the answers you need, like the women's health test or food sensitivity test. I just love how convenient this is, okay? Because there's so many things I need to learn about myself and things that are bothering me, and food sensitivity test, I can do it at home and I send it in and got the results. And now I know why the roof of my mouth itches sometimes when I eat eggplant.
I love that.
Yep.
Here's how it works. Everlywell ships products straight to you with everything needed in one package. To take your at-home lab test, simply collect your samples and use the included prepaid shipping label to mail your test back to a certified lab. Your physician-reviewed results get sent to your phone or device in just days. So I've done the women's health test, which really helped balance my hormones. I've done this food sensitivity test. My husband, luckily I didn't have that many, but my husband found out things that he was sensitive to, and it makes it makes life a little bit easier, let me tell you. But this is such a wonderful thing for your entire family. And so many people don't realize that they're sensitive to foods or that their hormones are out of balance. And I just love this company.
Everlywell also has high-quality vitamins and supplements to support your overall health. Choose from a variety of options, including vitamin D3 and omega-3 fish oil. And for listeners of the show, Everlywell is offering a special discount of 20% off an at-home lab test at everlywell.com/OC.
That's everlywell.com/OC for 20% off your next at-home lab test. everlywell.com/OC.
So the synopsis is Jess returns with news about Trey. Kirsten helps Ryan confront his savior complex. Seth and Summer receive sex counseling from Taylor.
That's the fastest synopsis
Ever. Shortest. But that's
Cut
a
to the
favor
chase.
with this episode. Directed by Robert Duncan McNeil, written by J.J. Philbin and Mark Fish. Original air date March 23rd, 2006.
Woohoo.
All right.
Here we go.
This episode.
There's some things I love about it, and then there's some things that you just like are shouting at the audience.
There's some things I'm shouting at Ryan a lot in this episode.
Oh, but he's got it. Yeah, it's like he's exhausting all these possibilities, right?
I know.
So
All right.
this is a new one.
Yes.
Because it starts with Ryan, Seth, Summer, and Sadie.
Yeah. Like the new, Fab Four over here, and it's Sadie instead of Marissa. And by the way, Summer is taking this very well.
You're being very supportive.
I'm being extremely supportive.
Well, and I think you explained it's like we get it. They're not meant to be together. And it's too much drama. But yeah, she misses her friend.
Yeah, and even supportive of these choices like ding dongs and gefilte fish.
But you were wearing a really cute top. I just wanted to
that
say
makes
that little
up for
cute
it.
top, I guess.
It sounded disgusting. I was like, I'm gonna go through it.
But anytime we get a chance with Ryan and Summer, I don't know. For some reason, I just love your characters together.
Yeah, they're buddies.
Where she's and because Summer these isms comes out. She's like anti-coop. She's calling her the anti-coop.
Yeah,
because she can beat Seth in the video games.
Yeah, but she is the anti-coop, right?
Yeah.
The doorbell rings.
Ding dong.
Guess who's back? Back again.
I thought this outfit was a little over the top, but it immediately sends the message that
I'm back and I am put together and proper and here.
And a Barbie. Like the little pink band.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean,
the curls.
Listen, I love some curls, as you can see, but at that time I was all about the like sleek super hair. So
right.
But they wanted to send a message that I was, on the straight and narrow.
Oh yeah, prim and proper.
Well, you have stunning hair, I have to say.
Do.
Oh, thank you.
I did notice your hair in this episode, and for some reason, I literally looked and I went, she walked into the trailer and they did that hair, like they did.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it was so big, and it's funny because a lot of what Jess wore was from my wardrobe. Like the Vans were mine.
Oh, you brought
my little studded belt and stuff like that. I'm wearing it's like a Tiffany heart necklace in this episode. I think that it was mine. I just was never a polo girl. Like I never would have worn the polos.
Right.
Yeah.
But so like when he opened the door, I was like, wow. That I
was a big
wiped
reveal.
that from my memory somehow.
That's so funny. And you're there and you're delivering a gift from Trey.
Yeah.
A belated birthday gift.
Which turns out to be a Hot Wheel.
Of a Camaro.
Right?
Yeah, Hot Wheel of a Camaro. But you know what? My note on this was, she says, you're back in town. I did hang out with Trey for a bit, but, I'm trying to change my life, comes with the new outfit. And I wrote that, she seems genuine. She genuinely seems to
want to turn over a new leaf.
Right. But I love that it's not 100% gone, though, because that wouldn't be realistic.
No.
The bad girl.
Of course not.
Yes, so he opens up that present, and Seth, he sees it and he says it was an inside story.
Inside joke.
He doesn't say joke though. He actually goes, it was an inside thing between us.
Thing. inside
It was a
story.
thing, but because I was like, is it really a joke? Because they actually used to like hang out.
No, like during a traumatic time in their childhood, they played with these. Right.
But of course, Kirsten comes in, and she's the girl who took too many drugs and floated in the pool. It really is a trigger for him. He's plugging along, and then somebody comes into his past and gives him a Hot Wheel, and we don't know what the story is yet, but it's clearly doing something, and it's a huge trigger for him.
Yeah. Yep. And then,
of course, Sadie.
And Kirsten's like, "How's Trey?" And he's like, "I don't know," and doesn't want to know. So he's still blocking that out.
I think
I feel like he doesn't mean that.
I agree.
He doesn't quite mean it, right?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, he is trying to get close to Sadie.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to reveal anything to her.
Yeah. She's like, "Tell me about this," and he doesn't. And she's like, "I'm a good listener," and then he doesn't. And she's like, "Okay, that's my cue to go. I'm out of here.
Right.
I guess I'll go right now." But I think she handles it just with enough of, okay, it defines to her, well, she wants him to open up and be vulnerable. She's ready to take that next little step.
Right.
And he can't. But she respects it. But at the same time, I think she's a little hurt by it.
Yeah, that's fair.
She definitely has like a strong sense of self,
She
to
really
be able
does.
To say, okay.
The maturity there is.
Yeah. I mean, it's how people literally develop feelings for each other when you share deep things and you feel. And so she's trying to do that here, and it's very painful. I mean, when you think back to what was going on, I'm really glad that the writers brought this back in some ways, because
Ryan and Trey.
Yeah, because he's still dealing with some of it, and without bringing Logan back, actually.
Yeah, I think Logan had booked something, and
did they want him to come back?
Yeah, I think he had booked something, and then I was like the closest way to bring it back.
That would make
that makes sense.
I mean, it's been a long time, but I'm pretty sure that's
feel like
what happened.
That's probably right.
Because she can come back, stir up a little more trouble again,
right?
Let him know what's going on, and it's a good way to close out that storyline without being. Yeah.
There you go. Well, isn't that interesting how clever writers can be? It's like, I still want to do this storyline.
Some kind of
connection. Had to, right? It's his brother. Like at some point.
Yeah, you can't just after everything.
And he was such a popular character even after everything. People.
Does he ever come back?
No.
We never see Logan again? Okay. Okay, so now Ryan decides he's going to go see Jess.
Right.
Against Seth's advice.
Yes, it's against his advice. He's like,
Yep. And so now we're getting all the backstory from Jess, and Trey misses him, and Jess has a new boyfriend, and you want Ryan to stay.
She said, because he comes over and he's like, "I want to know about him," and she says, "Why don't you stay?" And he takes off. He starts to walk away, but she says, he's dealing, and he whips around. Blackjack off the strip, and he's like,
so manipulative.
I know.
So he is trying to stay out of trouble. Yes, he is. So that's good. But that kind of makes him. She says, "Don't you want to hear more? I've got a lot to say." And then she does it again, drops robe, and walks up in her bikini. As if, that's how it's worked for her all these years.
Right. Why change
even when I went back and watched the other episodes, she was always like teasing Ryan, about like the brother thing. And, like.
There's got to be some part of Ryan. Because he's like, you and I were never friends.
Yeah.
He literally says that.
Yeah.
Like, why am I here? And it's like he comes because he wants to hear it, but then he's like frustrated.
There is a lot of that in this episode. I'm like, why is he there?
Right. Because
nothing against.
No, I mean, it is. It's kind of, it's
like,
almost sad in a way that she's like, she's obviously, to look deeper in it than just, I was the one that could come back and close that storyline up. But, it's sad that she's using that to make him stay. Obviously she just wants attention, and nobody's given her attention. You find out that her parents aren't there. They're never there. All along, a deeper side of Jess is that she's always just wanted attention, and her parents were never around. And
what does a bored girl do when she doesn't? I'm trying to be good, but it's like going against her nature to be this good girl.
Yeah.
And Seth did have a good point. He's like, look, he never wants Ryan to fall into the deep, dark Ryan world. It's like, do you want to go back and ruminate about the past, or do you want to look into the future with this nice girl Sadie that you're focused on? And he's got a really good point. But some people, because it's impossible to really live in the moment when you're fear of the future or thinking about the past, and he can see his brother getting pulled into that. So he's like, have some caution, Ryan, right? So he's on this little journey of figuring out what is a trigger for him. So it's an interesting, I do like that part of the storyline, that he's kind of getting pulled back into it. But then what's he doing? He's angry. He's punching, right? He's punching, doing the punching bag. And Kirsten is like, he's like, I'm sorry, loud music. And she's like, no, all this grunting and everything. It's really, really difficult because all that anger flashback, which lets the audience know what he's going through, all that Trey stuff and Marissa and everything, it now evokes all of that stuff. And they're super powerful images.
There's a lot of really good talks with Kirsten and Ryan in this episode, and this is one of them, where she's telling him Marissa's family, but where they love Sadie and just, doesn't want him to get pulled back into the drama and all that crap. And I like that you're seeing a lot of this, like, maternal talks from Kirsten.
There's a lot of support in this episode from you, from Seth, like from Kirsten, like everybody's being super supportive.
Marissa's part of the family. But she's been through a lot, and you don't want to get dragged back into that. Kirsten's the one that says that Jess had similar issues to Marissa. It's like, be careful. This is a red flag. You don't want to be doing this, again. Why do you have to keep saving these girls that are like this? And there's a lot of, there's a lot of people have that family member that evokes that response. Like you're plugging along just fine, and that family member who's all that you've kind of kept distance from, who kind of resurfaces, and then it affects everyone in your life. I know people like that.
Jess even says it to him when she talks about what Trey's doing. She says something like, "We all have our types." Like, she's like reminding him, reminding herself.
Right, for sure.
This holiday season, I'm giving thanks to my friends at Manscaped. I always wanted to make sure whatever I get my man is something he actually is going to use, and their Performance Package 4.0 is absolutely giving me my money's worth. He loves the product so much, and his confidence has shot up since he started using them for all his grooming needs. Gift your man Manscaped this holiday season so his tree stands taller, if you know what I mean. Help him join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. With 20% off, free shipping with the code THEOC by going to manscaped.com. Okay, so my man actually, he's been manscaping pretty much since I met him, but he's now a huge fan of the entire Manscaped product line, and his balls thank Manscaped. Well, they thank me too.
His balls thank you?
Yeah.
Think your holiday spread is good? It's time to give thanks to the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, or as I like to call it, the perfect package for his perfect package, huh? Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. Think of it as a cornucopia of his balls and body.
Manscaped has been busy and just launched their Body Buffer, the perfect addition to the shower routine to use with his refined body wash. Once he gets out of the shower, give him the deodorant for a refined scent on the go.
Both the body wash and deodorant feature the Manscaped signature scent and will help the man in your life unlock ultimate confidence this year. His boys and body will be oh so fresh and so clean. Even you'll be in love with his self-care routine.
Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code THEOC at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code THEOC at manscaped.com.
Get him the best gift of all from Manscaped. His balls will thank you.
And me.
Then we see Ryan meets up with Sadie, and she's finishing painting on the house. Now, I've said this before, like the fact that Sadie is just fully like renovating this house on her own, and then she looks completely beautiful and untouched. Maybe there was like a smudge of paint on her arm, but I was like, come on.
Right.
It would have been super cute if she had like a little dot.
Yeah, like don't you want like a little paint like right here or a little on her upper lip, and Ryan has to kiss it away.
No. But the thumb moving it across.
The thumb, like just gently, the hair out of the.
That would have been
paint
nice.
In it. Yeah. Listen, we're rewriting the scene.
We have notes.
Better. We have notes.
There you go.
But then he didn't make it to see her because obviously he stayed with Jess, and
because he said, "Give me 20 minutes, I'll see you."
Right.
But I guess
doesn't show up.
That didn't happen.
No, because he stayed.
Right.
I mean, also he spent the night.
It's a bit. That's what I'm saying.
What?
A lot of this is like, huh? Sorry.
Well,
I have a lot of issues with Ryan in this episode. I'm like, what is this? Was it the scene where you had the robe on? Was that what we talked about, or we hadn't gotten there yet?
That's where I took the robe off, walked upstairs.
When he first
stayed.
came over.
Yeah.
The robe. I just wanted to say, I noticed they did the Friends trick with this robe. Anytime on Friends, when they had a robe on, they would have it top sticked or taped or whatever, like the collar open. So like this was your top, your chest, everything was exposed, so it was more flattering. And I noticed they did the Friend trick with your robe.
Yeah.
Just a little side note.
It definitely is more flattering than being like all
it's TV
bunched up around.
You know what I'm talking about? TV robe. Sorry.
So
I wanted to just point that out. It's important.
He's on his date with Sadie in the diner that they call the culinary destination.
Yes.
And as soon as it gets started, the phone rings, and of course Sadie's like, okay, and of course it's Jess is saying she's in trouble and she's off to save. Sorry, I just totally jumped because this happens a couple times. See, this is the problem. He's not at the date. He's actually.
This is where it is.
No, because he's actually in the house and he gets a call
the first
from Jess.
time he leaves and Kirsten is like, "Where are you going?"
Exactly.
In trouble.
That I was wrong. I jumped forward.
It's gonna happen again.
Right?
Spoiler alert.
So she goes over, and that's when she's terrified because she broke up. She was inspired by Ryan. She breaks it off with Jim, and this is where you're wearing the cute little hot pants.
And he didn't spend the night before.
No,
this is when he spends the night.
No, yes, exactly.
Yes.
So he comes up and he's like, "What are you, your new boyfriend?" He goes, "No, but I'll beat your ass if you don't back off." And that's when she walks in. She really is scared, and I understand that. And then he sees the picture from Trey, and
the
comes
picture
back.
of Trey. That's a screenshot from Trey in the episode of the OC, mind you.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
I did
gosh.
notice that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I found out? Jamie Foxx bought this house that you were shooting in right after we shot there.
Really?
Yeah, we shot
It's a beautiful house.
Yeah. It's
so
like a
McMansion-y.
40-acre house in Thousand Oaks, just
Thousand Oaks. Wow.
just west of West. Yeah, very far for us to shoot. technically.
Yeah. Okay, so
anyway.
the next morning, that's by the pool, right? And Trey calls and wants to talk to him, and
Yeah, so the next
he
morning
says
he's
no.
like he fell asleep there because she was so scared, I guess.
Yeah,
Frickin'
I
Ryan.
mean, he stayed there to take care of me, which is really sweet. But also, like, it's super, like, what is Trey thinking? That that
Ryan's
he
here.
spent
It's
the
literally
night?
like 8 a.m. You're like, your
Yeah.
brother's here. My
Oh,
first
just
instinct,
sitting here with your brother.
Yeah.
I would be, like, what?
like Trey would have been like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like,
I know. Nope. Now moving in on my woman.
But of course she's like eggs, fried, scrambled, coffee, but then he starts drilling her on what's going on and explains that, what about your girlfriends from USC? So I was like, your girlfriends from USC, is he assuming that all of your girlfriends went to USC? Because Jess didn't go to USC. She went to
yeah, that is confusing.
I was like, what? Where did she go?
I was in Vegas with Trey.
But
Right.
I think that's just all of everyone from Newport goes to USC. That's
Right.
a Josh thing, I think. So maybe he's just assuming that that's what happened.
That they want to hang out with a girl that there was like a shootout and she went and lived in Vegas with a convict.
Right.
All of my USC friends.
I know. I thought that was funny.
Very funny. All right. He leaves. Sadie now walks in to the Cohen house in the morning with bagels. Now, all of a sudden, Sadie is in.
Kirsten's like, "Where's Ryan?"
I know.
Sadie walks in with bagels, and there's this little, and she says, "Anyone know where Ryan is?" And this very awkward, very funny Seth saying to Kirsten, "You really have to learn how to lie better."
Yeah. Yeah. And then this is where Seth and Sadie have a conversation.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good one where she's like, he seems to have some really deep issues. And he's like, look, he's dealt with Marissa. Give him a break. Give him some slack. Because when he tried to date someone normal, she turned out to be my grandpa's illegitimate daughter. And so just give him a break.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, but don't tell him we had this conversation and you can keep a secret, right? And I'm like, no. Son can't keep a secret.
He cannot.
No.
But it does seem like, a really genuine conversation that people would have, with their friends. Like, dude, stick around. Like,
I feel like a lot of things are genuine with Sadie and her character and all the things. Which, what?
Well, no, he's like, look, give him a break because I guarantee you'll have the most boring conversations coming up. It won't be dramatic. He puts it into perspective.
Right.
Like, just give him a chance. He needs you.
Right.
And because I think everyone around Sadie, they're saying they see that she's normal, has a head on her shoulders, and that could bring some stability. And I think everyone sees that Ryan is the savior guy that takes off after.
Every time.
Because essentially.
Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
Could have been the clerk at the supermarket. He would go. Okay, so now he's going to make it up to Sadie because he pieced out on her the night before. He's taking her to dinner. They're at the diner.
The culinary destination. So,
yep.
Yeah,
and
now they're there.
He gets a call. Guess who from?
Well, he says Jess, but actually it's the beautiful Kat Graham actress.
Beautiful.
Who went on to Vampire Diaries.
That's so funny.
fame.
Oh my God, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. And she's saying that Jess has locked herself. She's drunk. She's locked herself up, and everyone from USC is at the party.
And she will only talk to Ryan.
My friends really showed up, you guys.
I mean, full force.
A whole party.
A whole party full of them. Yeah, but she will only talk to Ryan.
How annoying for Sadie, though. When she's like, I get it, you gotta go.
I'm so annoyed for Sadie. I'm like, dude.
But I also love that she goes, I get it, you gotta go. And he says, do you? And she goes, no, actually, I don't get it, but call me when it's done.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that she even gave him like the opportunity to call her when it's done. Like,
maybe there was the option that she would go and wait in the car. Like, go take care of this. I'll be in the car. And we'll continue our date.
I don't know. At this point, though, after the things going on, I kind of would have been like, go do your thing. I wouldn't have said, call me when it's done. I would have been like, go.
So
anyway.
So Jess is really a mess, and she's got the smeared mascara, the tears. She's grabbing onto him and trying to, get close, make some moves. When Jim shows up and sees it, and of course does that instant like, hey man, get off her. And then they get into a fight. Your brother's sloppy seconds, and of course they get into a fight. He hits Ryan, and he slams him down. And he goes, hey, man, it's none of your business. And Ryan, ding, ding, takes this guy to go, oh, you're right. It's none of my business. And I've got to stop saving people like this because he literally has been saving every girl who's ever had an issue like this is saving his mother because he grew up with a mother who did this. And he finally realized that this is exactly what he's been doing his whole life, trying to save his mom. That's all it goes back to.
Did you
Case closed.
You just came up with that?
Yeah.
I wrote it in my notes there.
Oh.
It's true, though. Childhood trauma, it'll get you.
It's real.
And he literally was like, see, that's why I was thinking that he went, oh, I'm officially over Marissa now. Like any lingering thought he had just made it kind of sealed the deal.
I still don't agree with you.
But then she runs out and she follows him and he's like, get a life. I'm done.
Yeah.
Because he's been pulled into that kind of, savior complex for so long.
Right.
He tells her to stay away from Trey, too.
Yeah.
Just stay away from her.
Yeah. My notes are on my phone. That's why my phone's out. I'm not I'm totally checked out.
You're like on Instagram.
I'm on Instagram right now. No, they're on my phone.
But then he tells Kirsten that he finally learned his lesson but that he thinks it's too late. And of course, Kirsten says it's never too late. But then he goes over and tells her about this card and tells the audience as well that what was going on and why it was such a trigger. And I love that she is there and she says one of my best qualities is listening. A good listener is a really good quality.
Yeah.
Like it's something I've had to work on in my adult life because I wasn't.
Everyone, I feel like, could work on it a little bit.
There's the balance between listening and trying to tell a story of your own that makes the person think that you understand and that you're empathetic to their situation. It's like always that balance of like, okay, well, do I tell them about this and my experience, or do I just keep listening?
Right. Because then is it about me?
Yeah, I'm not making it about me, but I understand.
It's a really good idea I saw something where it said, if your partner or someone in your life is having having an issue, and it's like, do you want me to help with a solution, or do you just want me to listen? To like communicate that, because so many of us say, well, in my experience, or you should do this. And how many times have you said, I don't want your advice. I love that Ryan and Kirsten, he opens up to her and he listens to her. And because Seth is always talking to Sandy about sex, but I love that they have that. And you see a lot more of that in these past few episodes with Kirsten.
You do.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's cover the Marissa and Volchuk just a while back.
Talk about the music score telling us what to do. I feel like they took it from a song, but there's a lot of like music telling us what's going on in this.
But like the beginning of the episode, so the last episode ended and Marissa is like kind of opening up to Volchuk. She like rests her head on his shoulder, and
they're both grieving.
They're both grieving. But then the beginning of this episode, we're back to square one, and she's like, "No," like the push and the pull thing again.
Somebody's outside the door. She opens it, and there's a brown paper bag, and he actually says, "I thought you'd be at school," which is a valid question, or a comment. And he gives her back that expensive Cartier watch.
From what?
So when
I couldn't remember.
She bribed him.
She sold it.
No, she bribed him. She gave it to him to leave. Yeah,
a long time ago for Johnny for something.
To leave Ryan alone.
Oh, to leave Ryan alone. But it was during the Johnny era.
Yeah. Yeah. But then he kept it, and she gives it back. And
that's why. See, it was a while ago. I'm like, you guys, what is this watch? Oh, jeez.
So she gives it back. But
he gives it back.
I love the blue Uggs that Misha was wearing.
I did not notice.
And then, okay, so in this scene, I was like, I just love the way Cam, I call him Cam, but his name is Volchuk, Kevin Volchuk. He stares at her like he's just like, he's kind of past that point of grieving, but he's just got, I want you animalistic eyes. But then all of a sudden I kind of started seeing that he is that guy from the other side. Well, he's a surfer, but he's the bad boy the same way Ryan was the bad boy. And then I started picturing Volchuk as Ryan, or Cam Gigande as Ryan. And I was like, I wonder if that would have been interesting, because they are such sexual intensity.
Oh, yeah.
With these two.
Oh, you feel that. But just like you feel it with Ryan and Sadie. Like the not foursome, but the couples you're looking at now, I really see and feel it with like Ryan and Sadie and Marissa and Volchuk.
Yeah, it's a combination of the way they edit it, the way the actors portrayed it, and the music that was very intense. And I'm like, personally, I don't always like to see the making out but for some reason, these two characters really,
it's hot.
It's hot.
Well, it's also too like there's been so much, with Ryan and Marissa, there was always so much back and forth and drama, and they've been through so much. I mean, like it's just, that's a lot for any relationship. So to see her with this guy, it's like, it can be a little hotter and a little sexier because we're not thinking of all the other stuff.
Right.
And I'm trying to think back, and I'm like, when were Ryan and Marissa like really good? And you see them, and you're like, that's the most amazing couple ever. I was trying to think back on it.
No, because her journey of trying to find herself, and it was Caitlin that said it. She's like, you can't make decisions. You're just all over the place, and you've always been all over the place trying to figure yourself out, and nothing, and not being able to focus on just being. She's always involved in other people. She's this nurse, this Nightingale nurse kind of person to Johnny.
Right.
And it just, all of those things, all of those actions that she had, or choices she made, had such ripple effect consequences to her relationship with Ryan, to the point where they both started growing apart and either chipped away at each other's hearts, or just, they didn't have that there anymore. And so she's, I don't know, her journey is taking her elsewhere right now.
Well, also, so she finds herself alone, right? And she thinks about calling Volchuk, but who does she call? Matt Ramsey.
But she shows up at his
And she shows up to his place.
door. And I don't get this. So she says, I don't know. I can't talk to Summer.
We've learned he's 26, by the way, in this episode. So he is pretty young,
Right.
I will say. But she shows up at his door and like doesn't want to be alone. And he's like, I'm leaving for the weekend. You can stay here. The whole dynamic is so weird.
Well, I thought that was an odd thing because of the other storylines going on, because she can't hang out with Summer, because there's stuff going on with Matt in the Newport group. I thought maybe this is a way to get him into deeper trouble. I don't know, but she says, I don't want to be alone. And he says, well, I'm going. At first I thought, okay, he's leaving and she has the place to herself, but he doesn't leave till the next day.
Yeah, so she spends the night while he's there.
And he
I
says,
didn't catch that.
Yeah.
And what is she wearing in the morning?
his pajamas.
His clothes.
I mean, I'm
His
like,
t-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, like a jersey or something. It's
Yeah.
so weird to me.
I didn't know. I was like, I don't get this. She's alone at Matt's or alone in the trailer, and she's just digging into the drama of her life and her breakup. She's not moving on. Like, why isn't she at school? Like, go back to school, jump back into life.
Meet new people.
But she's like, no, I'm going to sit in my world of grief, and nobody's going to call me, I'm not accountable to be at school right now. I guess.
And Sandy knocks on the door in the morning and sees her there, and it's weird.
But I think Marissa's actions are really relatable to the teen audience. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, that's how all the feels. Even CG was telling me, my daughter CG, she was like, Mom, high school is so feely and dramatic. And so as an adult, we're like, why is this going on? I think the audience was really eating it up.
Well, what I was saying is like going through what she's going through, like at that age, whatever, you don't want to be alone. And she's thinking about texting Volchuk the whole time. And then she goes to this other guy because really just sitting in it isn't what you do when you're like 17 years old, Well,
No,
maybe some do, but
I don't know.
not mostly.
Well, and because then when Sandy does knock on the door, he is like, what are you doing here? You need to get home. This is so inappropriate.
I don't know that back then, at least. I mean, now in 2022, people are, but like at 17, I probably would have thought I was pretty adult. And,
Right,
if
that's
I had
true.
somebody that I was friends with that was older that I knew I felt safe around and they weren't trying to, from the outside, yes, it looks really, really bad when Sandy knocks on the door and she's wearing his t-shirt and she's 17. But, she probably, she's been through a lot of adult things. So she probably thinks she's pretty grown up and, she's been around a lot of grown-ups her whole life. So
You make a really good point. And I'm going to be a hypocrite because I was 17 and all my friends were 26, 27, and I had a boyfriend.
You heard it here first, folks.
For a little bit. But you're right. I was always the youngest in my group because all of my friends were in their 20s and older. And it wasn't, I think for the purpose of this episode, it probably wasn't that big of a deal until Sandy gets a complaint about him. And he instantly assumes it's that kind of behavior that he's being accused of by Dr. Griffin, Maya's dad.
Okay, so Marissa, and she sees him at the bait shop. There's a lot of this back and forth. Will they, won't they, avoiding, whatever. So obviously the tension is building.
Yes, they have those looks, yeah.
They have those looks. And we'll get to what happens in the end after we cover Sethimer.
There was that amazing stare between them when she's at the bait shop
talking
with
to Summer, and she's like, "What are you looking at?" And she's staring. Yes, they're having sex with their eyes.
He's doing that thing. They are doing the mating dance.
They're sexizing.
Yeah.
Sexizing.
You just made that up.
I did.
You are.
Okay, let's go to Sethimer.
Let's go to Sethimer.
Let's go to Sting's house.
Thank goodness for this storyline. I just am
oh my
tickled
God.
by how much fun this is. Thank goodness for Autumn Reeser.
I love her.
Oh my
lovely.
God, she's so good, and she's so fun in this episode, and she's coaching us, and it's hilarious.
Seth comes out of his Brown interview. He's like, you're the man, which I thought, so he thinks he's aced it. Hopefully he has. We'll find out. But Taylor's doing this whole thing about like what you're going to do, how we're going to celebrate.
I'll make a flan.
That's just like so weirdly random.
I
I'll make
know.
a flan to celebrate. And she's like, no, we're just going to do this other thing because that it is interesting how one person's perception of how you're supposed to celebrate can really make you feel insecure about something. And Taylor's like, oh no, aren't you going to have this mad, passionate, like this evening? And she's like, what are you talking about? You have to. And I think that I wrote that well, first of all, Autumn's acting choices are super fun.
Oh, yeah.
The way she's like, spread the seed. And she just really commits. And then, but this healthy, like, sex life talk, it feels very adult, not high school. Because it's an interesting kind of way to have a character bring in, like, these adult storied themes into high school thing by way of Taylor Townsend.
Taylor the Tantric Townsend.
But then they're alone watching this Blade trilogy, and Summer does this like nibble. And
I know, I
like,
sniff and like.
What? I ate salami. I feel like it's staying with me, man.
I know, it's so not sexual.
But I thought that was really realistic. Where if one person, you kind of say, I'm trying to do this, and your partner
and someone ate
goes,
salami,
and somebody laughs, and you're like, whatever, let's just watch TV. Like, that's realistic.
Right.
Or there's something you feel self-conscious about, and the person's like, you know they're trying to make a move, and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're like, no.
Oh my God.
They're an old married couple. Like, no, not tonight.
But then of course the next morning when she runs into her in the pancakes, she's like, was it hot? Was it naughty? Was it was it tender? Was it all these things? And she's like, it wasn't. And it was like everything that Taylor was saying just sounded very like cliche. Like, because do you ever do this? Like, I'm going to set up a zebra, rug and do it in front of the fireplace with chocolate.
Zebra.
And I'm like, I've just never been that. Or like when like Julie had the petals on the bed.
Right.
I'm like, it's like, to me, that takes it out of
I know. I definitely have like the anxiety, like mind in a relationship. Like, okay, we had sex on Monday. So, okay, do we have to do it again on Thursday? And then like, you go through those things. You're like, oh, fuck, I guess we have to do it again tonight.
Except for that first like initial like year where it's just like, you can't get enough.
Yes. After that year.
But see, here's the thing that
salami abounds.
But I think there's something interesting about, the Summer Seth thing is that it's normal to have that intense thing in the beginning. And then because love is actually, that's just a feeling that comes and goes. That's like that procreation thing that's built into our DNA. And that's why there's the sex can be so intense. But love is actually an action word. When that stuff kind of subsides, love means taking care, cooking, taking out the trash, doing all these little things. That's love. And I think Seth and Summer are in this, they're scared that they're going to be in this, they're in this stale part of their relationship.
Yeah.
When in fact, they're actually in this more mature, we love each other part. And it doesn't need to be so the pressure to be in this Taylor Townsend tantric sex thing isn't necessarily realistic.
No.
But hats off to him
Yes.
to discovering it, right?
I remember filming the scene where she has us in the school and putting our hands on each other, and Adam just like puts it on my face.
That was so funny. I mean, you can audibly hear the like
slap.
The slap.
Oh yeah, it was so hard to keep
him
a straight
like
face,
palming your face.
Yeah, that whole time.
Do you feel a stirring in your loins? And you both are
God.
like, got nothing. She's like, well, I do breakup counseling too.
Yeah.
The other thing is so funny that she says Taylor Townsend's dad was a car salesman, so now he's a sex therapist. But your mom in real life is a sex therapist.
She doesn't have yet the technical. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She specializes
Counseling.
in sex counseling.
There you go. And
There
was
is
no
a
relation.
poster of the Kama Sutra like pictures on her wall in her bedroom.
Is there a chance that you had this conversation and it was put in there with Josh or something before?
Yeah, I hope not. But yes, with my mother many, many, many times.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So Taylor presents the Kama Sutra to Seth, which is hilarious.
Which is, and it's a pop-up. Did you notice the book? She
It's
opens
the children's book version of the Kama Sutra.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like the children's pop-up version.
That's hysterical.
It is funny. And then
the wheelbarrow.
the wheel, yes.
But can I say something about the scene with Summer and Marissa in the bait shop.
Yeah.
Because now Summer's mind is kind of spiraling.
Yeah.
She's thinking like, if we're in this weird place where we're not attracted to each other, this means he's going to go find some, what is it? A pair of big New England white boobs. Pale.
Don't forget pale New England boobs.
Pale New England boobs to replace me. I mean, also, is it realistic to be monogamous in college?
No.
No.
I was in high school when my college boyfriend, he went to college. And let me tell you.
What?
He had a lot of sex, not with me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
My high school boyfriend cheated on me so much when we went to college.
Yeah.
I just
It's
feel
a
like,
thing.
it's just, try not to be too girls, just try not to take it too seriously.
Don't be in a relationship in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do your thing. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But in that scene, it was the girl in the sea by the presets, and it was just like this theme throughout the whole episode of the Volchek Marissa stares, that sex before sex thing. But this is where Sandy and Seth talk about, when he said, he was like, did you guys ever have like a kind of a low point with mom? And he's like, oh, she was a firecracker. We used to say, if the mail truck is a rockin', don't come knocking. And then he's like, oh. But why are we so ooh about parents? Is that a dumb question?
It's just a thing.
It's just like a thing.
No one wants to visualize that.
They are always, though, like making comments. Like even in the episodes I watched, my old episodes, like they're always some kind of like funny, inappropriate parent sex comment.
Oh, yes.
Especially with
That
Kirsten.
never gets old.
Yeah.
Never gets old.
But it's great because in this episode, Seth's just kind of like, it's like, all right. It's
just, there's like one comment about having sex in my room in front of me. There was something I made a note of and I forget what it was now. But yeah, super gross.
Well, then of course, since Seth shows up, oh, poor little Summer. She's like, she assumes that he's coming over to
break up
with her.
Yeah.
No,
it's one of the few times you see Summer pretty like insecure and
right. I need to come over and talk.
She gets that
vulnerable.
Yeah.
And she's like, I had to put Princess Sparkle in the drawer because, and he's like, oh no, something about
she can't see this.
She can't see this.
She's like, that bad?
Is it that bad? And
but it's really funny that she goes to like hit him and he catches her.
He's like, Taylor Tanzen came over because I've been schooled in the world of tantrics.
Oh yeah, that's why
she
gets
hour
mad.
Or 12, 24, if Sting shows up or something.
Yeah.
What do you mean Taylor Tanzen came over?
I know, and he grabs.
It was super effective. This like,
bam,
bam.
It's funny.
It worked. It really worked. I
then
was
they
like,
hit the sheets.
And it's the best sex they've ever had, apparently.
Thank you, Tantric Taylor.
Thank
you. Okay. Wow. And then, we're on the sex thing, but is there anything you want to say about Sandy in the hospital?
We were on the sex thing. No, I mean, the other little side thing they have Sandy doing, which is not my favorite thing. I feel like Peter was not happy doing all this stuff either. We need him back as a public defender, doing these things. But Dr. Griffin doesn't want to work with Matt because he's heard rumors of his antics and parties, and it turns out that he's sticking up for his little girl, and he wants him off the project because it's a big project. And why? Because
Matt Ramsey broke his little girl's heart.
Yeah, Matt broke his heart.
Let's get back to the sex. Okay. So that starts off the sex ending of the episode. The Sethimer. I think this is the first time they're called Sethimer too, by the way, in this episode. Taylor calls them Sethimer.
She does, doesn't she?
Yeah. Maybe
she
it's
goes,
the first
come
time.
on, my little Sethimer.
Yeah. Okay, now, all right, then Ryan gets to Sadie. They start going at it. I'm telling you, there's such chemistry with them.
Right.
I feel like
she says, I'm a good listener. And then she says, but that doesn't mean that's all we have to do. We don't have to talk.
Right.
We can do something else.
And go time.
And I was like, whoa, I don't remember another scene in the entire. Oh, because after Seth and Summer kind of jump back under the sheets.
I'm really laughing, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
I can hear me. I'm really laughing.
And then
who knows what Brody was doing under that comforter? I don't know. Being funny.
I'm sure. And so then they go for it. Ryan and Sadie they're not just making out. They're going for it.
No, they go for it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the most sex we've seen Ryan have. Wouldn't you say it's more than even when they showed him and Marissa?
It feels like it.
It
for some
feels
reason.
like it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just like a little longer. I don't know.
And in that montage, we see Marissa, Volchek is sitting at the trailer. Marissa walks in and she does this thing where she opens the door
and
then
leaves
it open.
Yeah.
And
an
then
invitation.
Those two. That's when the flames.
I literally wrote Marissa and Volchek for the win.
Oh, yeah.
Because
oh, yeah. They had the hottest. Like, Seth and Summer are the, like, comedic relief. Ryan and Sadie are sweet. And then there's Marissa and Volchek, which is just flames.
She actually did say at the bait shop talking to Summer, she says...
Oh, emotionally unavailable.
Emotionally.
Better sex.
Uh-huh.
So
she's
you know
aware.
What? I believe that to be true.
I do too.
Yeah. It's sexy.
I mean, he like pushes her against the wall and everything.
Oh my God.
So hot.
I know. I was like, yes.
You know, I do think
Yes,
it's
please.
an interesting thing, and I do hope we get to talk to Misha one day, but she wrote about how she felt pressure to be sexual at an early age because of this character, and this reminded me of that.
But I wonder if she was okay with it because he was so hot.
I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would hope that you never want...
She was old. She was probably 18 by now.
Oh, yeah. She would have been 19 by this point.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Because her birthday's in January.
Oh, right.
So she would have been 19.
Yeah. I mean, their sex scene, though, was definitely the hottest. They win.
Yeah.
They win.
For sure.
They win.
They
They're in
win.
a trailer and like up against a wall. I mean, come on.
Well, there's something hot about trailer park
That's what I'm
sex.
saying. Listen, if you haven't had it, Mindy.
I don't know. We haven't seen Dr. Roberts and Julie there.
I mean, you in real life.
Oh.
Have you?
In a trailer?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Nikki?
A camper, maybe.
Like an RV camper.
Oh my God. I mean, there's something called the river.
A river runs through it.
Right. Anyway, that's a whole other
That
thing.
is the episode.
I think that's the episode.
And we have some
It's good music.
voicemails for Nikki.
We have some voicemails for her.
Yay, I was so worried nobody would ask me questions.
Oh my God.
Hey, Melinda and Rachel. This is Brian. I am leaving this message with a question for Nikki. I was wondering, Jess for me is kind of like the ultimate chaotic evil on the OC. And that's why I think we love to hate her. But I would like to know, if you could kind of envision a redemption arc for her. If Jess had stuck around and changed her ways, how do you think that could have played out? What would have been like the ultimate, kind of like Jess turns her life around storyline?
I think Jess did get a little bit of you at least get to see what's driving her a little bit in this episode. She talks about her parents not being there, how they all have their types. And I think people can change and do. I mean, like I said, I was a little wild in my youth, but I think you just have to be really self-aware and want your life to be better. And that moment when Ryan decides, is like, I'm not doing this anymore. Jess has to have something maybe that happens, to her that makes her have that moment that Ryan did when he's like, I'm I keep trying to save all these people. What am I doing? And I think that if Jess, but it just seems like she's probably going to like slide back to Trey because Trey wants her to come back to Vegas. And, she's screwed up again at home. So I think at some point there either has to be something that drives you to make that decision, or you just get really tired of that trajectory that you're on.
I think what an interesting thing to do would be to see, and I think Trey and Jess hear about Marissa's passing tragically. That was a spoiler. Not that anyway, but that something like that makes you think how tragic and I don't want to go down that path, or especially like Trey even. Does Trey have a redemption? Does he better himself? Does he go back to school? Jess goes back to USC and then comes back to and becomes like head noopsie of, something.
I mean, look, she's super privileged.
She's not on
her
OnlyFans
family,
like Julie.
Yeah. She's not. She has all the money. Her family, obviously is supporting her, just scooting around. So, she has the opportunity to better herself. And I like to think that eventually she did, that she grew out of it,
Yeah. Maybe Marissa affected
her. And I think,
her.
too, some people are just, bad for you. And I think that she probably genuinely was trying to get her life together, but seeing Ryan brought all that stuff back for her. And, it just sets her on that destruction again. Like there's some people, like you can love people. You were talking about family earlier. Like you can love people and not be in a relationship with them. You can choose not to make them your family. You can choose, to create boundaries. And I think that Jess could find that someday.
Well, it can be a slippery slope. The people, the company you keep can have a huge effect on your choices, for sure.
Just, seeing people from high school or something now, it always brings you a little bit back to who you were at the time, you know.
Well, even watching the show.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Hi, Melinda and Rachel. This is Marguerite in Virginia. Thank you so much for doing the podcast. I've been a fan of the show since 2004 when I started watching it junior year of college. And I still have all 4 seasons of the show on DVD. I refuse to get rid of them because just in case there's no internet or I cannot stream or any number of everyday occurrences, I still want to have access to the OC. In case I need a little fix, which happens on the regular. Anyway, I really look forward to the podcast on Tuesdays. But my question today is for Nikki. I absolutely loved Jess. She was one of my favorite characters to watch on the show. Her fashion choices were amazing. Her energy was awesome. I would sometimes kind of channel a little bit of her confidence and energy when going out with my friends in college. So thank you for bringing that. But my question for you today is, how did you nail Jess's facial expressions? She had the best facial expressions. And I'm just curious if you practiced those in the mirror. Did you have any particular inspiration for that? Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
It's really funny because I was, like I said before, I was skimming through the episodes and I just was so delighted with the words I was given all the time because they were just so fun. Like I said this, like the craziest stuff, like teasing about the brothers and like sloppy seconds and then like jabbing at Marissa and Summer, like I was just too cool and having so much fun. And I think that the words really lent that, it was easy to find that because it was just so fun.
Yeah.
Well, you like Tom Cruise it in the monitor, just going over your expressions.
But it doesn't, but you're exactly right. If you play a character, if you're playing the words and the character for truth, there's the expression comes out. There, you don't say, I'm going to do this now or something. Mm-hmm. It just comes with the dialogue and the intention of what you're saying.
I mean, your character was so expressive because of what she was saying.
Right. She was always in on her own joke.
Yeah.
So, she wasn't afraid to like, I'm getting this over on you. Like, this is, like she was always in on it. So she wasn't afraid for people to see that in her face. It was she was just delighted with herself.
I do admire that confidence.
I mean, wow.
That was so nice. Thank you so much, Marguerite.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nikki.
Thank you
so
so much.
good to have you.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
One of the more love to hater characters and very, very memorable characters from the show. Thank you for taking the time so much.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Follow, rate, and review. Welcome to the OC Bitches, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you like to watch us, please check us out on YouTube. Bye, bitches.
Welcome to the OC Bitches is brought to you by Cast Media. Executive produced by Colin Thompson, Harris Lane, produced by Katie Curtright,
Edited by Parker Flores and our technical engineers, Travis Holden and Dustin Park. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to start with the pilot episode and catch all of our episode recaps.